Jason Beyer teaches 2 sections of senior theology, which includes a 4-week-long unit on Ignatian discernment. This fall, Beyer used the conventional lecture discussion method for this topic in one section, but he employed the new PBL method in the other. PBL, or problem-based learning, organizes students into teams that tackle a real problem, which they study and research to come up with a solution. Students focus on how they use technology in the classroom. What solutions could they suggest that would engage our Regis Jesuit community and help it to grow?
How do you become aware in the moment of what your experience is? So whether that can be consolation and desolation, to use Ignatian terms, but really to give them the practical experience in their own lives. How are they doing? What are they experiencing about the way technology is impacting themselves in the moment? So that's what I'm trying to get at. And then use that and leverage that for deciding how to live.
To understand how technology affects us in our daily lives. I think we live in a time and age that technology is all around us, and it's an integral part of our lives, but at the same time, it's really easy to just get caught up in the technology, get lost in it. So we're trying to understand what aspects are beneficial and what aspects are harmful and how they apply to us as students.
At Regis, we're trying to figure out how better ways to grow closer with God, and technology is obviously a great way to access new platforms and new things, and hopefully we can use this technology as Catholics in our religious lives.
Yeah, so we're trying to address the problem of the relationship with technology in the classrooms amongst the teachers and the students. So kind of how they use the technology versus how we use the technology. We kind of find that like a lot of students use the technology to play games, and it's kind of used more as a distraction than a tool. And we wanted to see how kind of like the ratio of students that use it properly versus the students that kind of use it so to play games or to be distracted.
We're definitely like pro technology and stuff like that, and we definitely think that will be like an important use for the future and just for colleges. But we also realize like a lot of students use it irresponsibly, and like this has been a problem for both students and teachers.
I easily get very distracted. I have ADHD, so I always need to fidget with something or like always have my mind going on something. And so the technology is just an easy way to escape and kind of like calm me down. But I do like some of the classes where it's more like hands-on, more, well, that's how I learn really well, is just more hands-on, more like experiment-based, project-based, kind of like this. And then more of like just the sitting and lecturing. That's where I like zone off with my technology. I'm guilty of playing some games in some classes.
We were asking them is to utilize any skill they've developed. So some students did a survey of teachers that all teachers got access to and gave feedback on. And that was really good for them because they learned from their mistakes. One group convinced a teacher outside of this class to do 3 different experiments with it, using and incorporating technology in a classroom experience, and then they had a questionnaire at the end. So they devised their own experiments, did their own research, conducted their own surveys. It was open to them. All I did was spend time on the problem. I did not touch any solutions.
I like the research aspect as well as like how it's personally related to us. So it's not just like a project just to do a project. It's like actually beneficial, and the fact that we get to like present this to like to Regis, I think it makes the project more interesting.
Since we in physics usually trying to find how fast the ball is going at what height, by recording it and taking a picture of like the lab that you're doing, it'll help improve like the use of technology that you're using.
Like try and involve it to be more interactive, so it's not just there as like a distraction.
Yeah, the hardest part about this part of the solution though is that looks very different for all different classes.
So after that, we kind of had like a free response questionnaire for them, and the majority of the kids didn't really know what was going on because they were distracted in the class, so they were very confused. You could see it on their faces. But so like that class class kind of failed with all technology. And then the next period, we went half and half. So we started off without any technology. And it was kind of crazy to see because there were still those kids with like turn the brightness all the way down or like still have their phones under their desk. So
what they realized is at the heart of Ignatian spirituality is owning your own experience. So they had to do that to own their own solutions. And that is a real deep, sophisticated, and I think mature understanding of the spirituality.
So 60% of the teachers said that they often had problems, and 40% that said that they had sometimes had problems.
One of the things that a group has told me before is, this is the first time I've ever been given feedback that will help me for my life and my career. Frankly, they're not too interested in my feedback. But when they get the president or a board member or one of our administrators or another teacher and they're getting in that conversation, the teachers really said what they loved is the conversation afterwards, because it gives a whole new way for other teachers to give feedback to these students in an equal footing, in a dialogue that really supports them, and they already have bought into the purpose of this isn't for Mr. Byer. The purpose of this is for our community. The purpose for this is to improve our community and who we are as RJ. So that purpose is what they're engaged in. So when they're getting feedback, the purpose is real to them for their solutions, not feedback for how well do I understand Ignatian discernment.
I feel like there's a little bit more passion going in with all of the students doing this project than, let's say, just like another like project about spirituality or something like that, because like this relates to all of us. Like we all can relate to this issue that we're trying to solve, and like all of our friends can relate to it. Yeah, I feel like we're definitely more the recipient in most classes. I mean, like they'll be like, you know, our teachers will ask us like, oh, like, you know, with this problem we have at Regis, like, what do you guys think about it? And then we'll give our thoughts, but they're just teachers. They don't have like actual power to like change things, right? I feel like if we had like this formal presentation thing to faculty, like to actually show like we have opinions on this that matter, like I think that at least that feels like we have more of an impact on it.
I would say the vast majority of the ways I engage them through questions or inquiry in the classroom is more me-centered than them-centered. And so it's really making me think of how do I design the curriculum in a different way in light of this, not when I'm doing a PBL, but in general. So it's been a success in making me realize that, and it's also made me very aware the first time I kept the same assignments, the same homework that I did a year ago when I taught this unit. So I wanted to see that, and it made me realize some of the things I'm doing well, and it also made me aware of the things I need to tweak so that this can be a more rich experience.